Coach's Corner is your source. Baseball, football, soccer, and hoops. The Coach's Corner has the scoop. It's the Coach's Corner with Andy.
Covering Tri-State sports, it's the Coach's Corner with Andy on 92.1 The GOAT.
It's the Coach's Corner.
It is officially playoff time in high school boys soccer, and in Washington County last night, according to the Herald Mail, the CMC Small School Championship between Middletown and Boonesboro. Middletown came out the winner, 6-1. In the CMC Large School Championship, Urbana took on North Hagerstown. They played to a 0-0 tie, and Urbana ended up winning with penalty kicks in a shootout 2-0. Tonight, St. James takes on Potomac at 4:15. Here's how the schools pan out for your playoff picture for the MPSSAA playoffs for boys soccer. The North Hagerstown Hubs, who won the Tesla Cup as county champions, have a quarterfinal bye and will host a 3A West Region 1 semifinal Saturday at 7 p.m. against the winner between Oakdale, number 4, and number 5, Linganore. South Hagerstown, 1-10-3, is the number 7 seed and will travel to number 2 Tuscarora on Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. In the Class 2A West Region 1 boys bracket, Williamsport, 7-4-3, won a coin flip against Middletown to get the number 3 seed and a quarterfinal bye. The Wildcats will travel to number 2 Walkersville on Saturday at noon. In the Class 1A West Region 2 boys bracket, Boonesboro, 4-8, is the number 2 seed and has a quarterfinal bye. The Warriors will host number 3 Catoctin in the semifinals Friday at 5 p.m. Clear Spring, 3-9, is the number 4 seed and will host number 5 Smithsburg, 0-12-1, on Wednesday at 7 p.m. In the Class 1A West Region 2 girls bracket, the Tesla Cup champion Smithsburg will take on the number 2 seed Boonesboro. In the Class 1A West Region 2 girls bracket, the Tesla Cup champs Smithsburg, 8-5-1, are the number 2 seed, and Boonesboro, sitting at 7-7, is the number 3 seed. The Leopards and Warriors each have quarterfinal byes. Smithsburg is going to host Boonesboro in the semifinals Saturday at 11 a.m., while Clear Spring, 2-9-1, is the number 4 seed and will host number 5 Catoctin on Wednesday at 5 p.m. In the Class 2A West Region 1 girls bracket, Williamsport, 2-10, is the number 5 seed and will travel to number 4 Winters Mill on Wednesday at 6 p.m. In the Class 3A West Region 1 girls bracket, North Hagerstown, 7-7, is the number 5 seed and will travel to Oakdale to play number 4 Linganore on Wednesday at 5 p.m. South Hagerstown, who's 0-11, is the number 7 seed and will travel to number 2 Westminster on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Last night in girls soccer for the CMC Small School Championship, Brunswick took on Smithsburg and beat them 3-0, making Brunswick the CMC Small School Champion. Tonight in flag football, North Hagerstown is going to take on Boonesboro starting at 5 p.m. And in girls volleyball in Washington County tonight, Hinman will take on Hancock at 5:30. Boonesboro and North Hagerstown will battle each other. That match starting at 6:45, while Smithsburg travels to South Hagerstown. That match starting at 7. And Clear Spring taking on Martinsburg in Martinsburg, that match starting at 7. Last night, North Hagerstown beat Grace Academy in volleyball by a score of 3-1, winning with scores in their matches of 26-24, 25-23, and 25-22. Williamsport also took down Oakdale, winning 3-0, with scores in their matches of 25-12, 25-17, and 25-23. In Franklin County sports news, Trojans Emily Wrench tied for 11th at the States. Chambersburg senior Emily Wrench had a good day Monday in the first round of the PIAA Girls Golf Championship. Last night in Greencastle Antrim soccer action, the girls soccer team lost to East Pennsboro. They outscored Greencastle Antrim 3-0 in the second half and eliminated the Blue Devils from the District 3 Class 3A playoffs in the first round. Last night in Monday Night Football action for the NFL, the Baltimore Ravens traveled to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, beating them 41-31. That moves the Baltimore Ravens record to 5-2, while the Tampa Bay Buccaneers moved to 4-3 on the year. Lamar Jackson was 17 of 22 for 281 yards. He tossed 5 touchdowns on the day, while Derrick Henry rushed 15 times for 169 yards. Rashad Bateman shined as lead receiver for the Ravens, 4 receptions for 121 yards with 1 touchdown, while Mark Andrews hauled in 2 touchdowns for the Baltimore Ravens. Baker Mayfield was 31 of 45. He did toss 3 touchdowns on the night, but also threw 2 interceptions. Rashad White carried the ball 10 times for 40 yards, while Cade Otton had 8 receptions for 100 yards. Rashad White also scored 2 receiving touchdowns for the Buccaneers. The Arizona Cardinals beat the Los Angeles Chargers last night, improving their record to 3-4. The Los Angeles Chargers are now 3-3. Kyler Murray had a great game, 14-26 passing, 145 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception, while James Conner rushed the ball 19 times for 101 yards. Kyler Murray also scored on the ground for the Cardinals. while Justin Herbert for the Chargers went 27 of 39 for 341 yards. J.K. Dobbins had 14 carries for the Chargers for 40 yards. Will Dissly was the lead receiver with 8 receptions and 81 yards. Tonight in NHL action, we have a jam-packed schedule. The Capitals take on the Flyers beginning at 6 p.m. Then the Wild take on the Panthers. The Lightning are battling the Devils, and the Stars battle the Sabres. The Rangers take on the Canadiens, while the Maple Leafs go up against the Blue Jackets. Red Wings versus Islanders starts at 7:45, while the Jets take on the Blues at 8. The Canucks and Blackhawks will battle it out, while the Avalanche and Kraken also will be fighting for a win. The Bruins and the Predators take on each other, while the Hurricanes and Oilers will kick off at 9 p.m. The Senators take on the Utah Hockey Club at 9:15, and the Pittsburgh Penguins are going up against the Calgary Flames. The puck drops for that game at 9:30. The Sharks take on the Ducks tonight, and last but not least, the Los Angeles Kings take on the Las Vegas Golden Knights starting at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's also opening night for the NBA, and we got some great games on the schedule here. The Boston Celtics are taking on the New York Knicks in Boston, while the Timberwolves travel to the Lakers to take them on. That game starting at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
It's the Coach's Corner with Andy.
Hey, I'm Andy, and we have Mark Luther here. He's the head coach of Chambersburg Varsity football team over at Chambersburg Area Senior High School. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. It's a pleasure to have you on. And Mark, you have an extensive background in coaching. You've coached college, high school, even youth sports, college at Juniata, Shippensburg, and Lock Haven. Is that correct?
Correct, yep.
Yeah, a lot of experience in there. Chambersburg's very lucky to have you. But tell us a little bit about each experience at those different levels. Does the coaching, obviously the coaching is going to vary, but how is that different?
Yeah, it was one of those things that when I graduated from high school, it was, something I felt I wanted to get into. So after my time at Penn State, I was fortunate enough to get an opportunity at Juniata College right after I graduated. So I spent a couple years there, then moved on to Lock Haven University, spent a number of years there, actually became the head coach for 5 seasons. And then things happened there, moved on to Shippensburg University, and then that kind of planted me in the area here. So a lot of things happened after that time, but, they were all great experiences. When you get into college coaching, I think we all have dreams to someday to be at a Penn State, to be, at a place like that, because what really stands out from the varying levels, Juniata College is a Division III program, Shippensburg University, Lock Haven University, Division II programs. I had the opportunity to, be a part of Penn State as a player for a little bit. But what you get to see, it really boils down to the amount of support.
Yeah.
And we see it today. You see it, anybody that follows football at any level, it takes resources.
Yeah.
You want to be successful, and no different than you in your business here on the radio is if you guys want to be known and do well, it's going to take resources. Nothing comes for free. And that's, the bottom line is at all those levels, that's really what it comes down to.
Right.
Division III, there's no athletic aid. So, you're recruiting students purely on, your school, your
Right.
academic, integrity, the programs at your school, and the opportunity to continue playing football. Division II, now you start getting into athletic aid, but it's not at the same level as somewhere like a Penn State or a program like that. And we all see the stadiums they play in, their locker rooms and stuff. So, that becomes, from a coaching standpoint, the biggest difference, no doubt.
Awesome. You said you had played at Penn State. You're actually a cornerback there. Tell us a little bit about that, when you played, how that experience was.
Yeah, at a place like Penn State, every fall season they have walk-on tryouts when the semester starts. I enrolled at Penn State, and the first couple of years there, I gave them a shot, and it didn't work out. But I continued to work, and in my high school, my alma mater, which was West Branch High School, which is about 25 miles northwest of State College, um, I had the opportunity to coach, and that's what really got me going with the coaching. So those fall first couple of years, I was helping out the team, and then throughout the off season and summer, and I continued to work. And then, the fall of 1990, I tried out again, and they selected me. So I had the opportunity to be a part of that team. And that was the year some familiar names, like a Kerry Collins was there, Gary Brown. We're talking a long time ago now, 1990.
I know who you're
Um,
talking about. Yeah.
yeah, it's a while ago, but it gave me the opportunity. I learned a lot, just
Yeah.
being around that, how they ran practices, and really for me, it was more about I knew I wasn't, expecting to be a starter or playing time, but more for me is to learn from the coaching aspect. At that
Yeah.
point, I knew I wanted to get into coaching, so how they did things, how practices were ran, the systems defensively, offensively, all those kinds of things to
Hmm.
increase my knowledge so I could take it to that collegiate level.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can't imagine how exciting that probably was for you, especially as a walk on.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
yeah,
Because
why not give it a shot? And then they'd select you, and it's probably like, whoa.
yeah, well, absolutely. That tryout, and again, a big university like that. I remember there was always 100 plus, students
Yeah.
there
Hmm.
trying out for those things, and they would take maybe 4 or 5 guys
Wow,
each time. So
that's awesome.
it was a great experience to be in the game field, the locker room, go to bowl games. So it was a great experience, and I took a lot from it. It really changed my mind because up until that point, all I knew was high school coaching,
Yeah.
what my coaches did. And, back then in the mid 80s, high school football is a lot different than than it is today. And the way it's
Yeah.
played, the way we coach it, and nothing against my coaches at that point, but, the reality is I think back now, they taught me nothing about football.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, I'm not saying that in a negative sense. It's just
Right.
back then, if we threw the ball more than 5 times a game, that was crazy.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
there was no confidence. We didn't have 7v7s. We didn't have year-round workouts. It was a different time.
Yeah.
But over the years, things have evolved, and now, I'm coaching our quarterbacks like a college, you
Hmm.
know, quarterback would get coached, and we're asking them to make reads, understand coverages and defense, where the weaknesses are. I was never taught any of that. I played quarterback in high school
Hmm.
you know, hey, we called a play. Coach said, you're throwing it here.
Yeah.
That was it. You know
Yep.
what I mean? You knew where you were throwing it, whether it was open or not. Didn't matter what kind of defense they were playing. So it just, as with everything, the world changes, and high
Hmm.
school football has changed, and the way we play it today and coach it is a lot different than it was in the mid 80s.
Yeah, and I think that's great because I really think it prepares those players if they do want to take it to the next level. They'll know what to experience when they get to those colleges or semi-pro or whatever they route they decide to take. It's only going to benefit them to learn it in high school,
Yeah,
and it's physically probably better for them as well. More working out, more focused on what they need to do rather than just go run a lap.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And
yeah.
we understand that there's only about 1% of high school players that go on to play at the collegiate level.
Hmm.
In my 9 years there, we at Chambersburg, we've been very fortunate here over the last, I'd say, 6 years. We've been putting out 4, 5, 6 guys that go on to play at the college level, and
Hmm.
that's awesome
It's very cool.
to
Yeah.
have them. And I've had a number of them come back and tell me, and say, "Hey, coach, the way you guys coach us, the way we practice, um, it's just like we do in college."
Yeah.
And a lot of their coaches end up telling them that, "Hey, you guys are better prepared than a lot of high school players that come to
Yeah.
us." So, and that's always good to hear. But again, our approach to practice is a lot more like a college practice would be.
Mhm.
And honestly, I don't know how any different because I wasn't brought up as a high school coach,
Yeah.
and then for 30 years, and then hey, started coaching college and figured
Hmm.
that out.
Right.
I coached at the college level for over 20 years, then the high school. So I don't know any different than the
Yeah.
way we did at the college level.
Yeah. So at Chambersburg, the football team is synonymous with support from the community. Your team has, we were talking about those resources. You guys definitely have those available to you in such a tough division in the Mid-Penn Conference and the Commonwealth Division, going up against teams like Central Dauphin East, State College, Altoona, Harrisburg. They're giant schools and very talented as well. How do you prepare your team on a weekly basis to keep focused and stay motivated? What are some of those tactics you use that you brought from coaching at college?
Well, I just think getting them to understand that there's various ways you have to be prepared. It's not
Mhm.
just about practicing on the field. We spend time each day reviewing video.
Okay.
You got to study your opponent.
Mhm.
No different than being in that algebra or geometry class. You just can't go in, sit there, listen to the teacher, walk away, and expect to know it. You have to put that time in. You have to work at it. So,
Right.
and there's various ways to do it. So a big part of it is that is looking at hey, preparing from the game multiple ways, not just hey, we go out the practice field, that's the end of it.
Yeah.
The communication part, I think the coaches, assistant coaches, I can't talk to everybody, can't coach everybody, but they do a great job of getting information, whether it's drawing it up, communicating it through an app we use to work with a team, and then where our video is that they're constantly communicating, pushing information out to the players
Mhm.
as the week goes on. Um, and really, it's just about trying to keep them throughout the week focused on, hey, I know they have a lot going on with school and social media and friends and other things going on, but hey, part of being a football player and on a football team, you have to have a little different mentality. And
Yeah.
Friday nights are a big deal. There's nothing like it
Yeah.
in the world,
Right.
Friday night football and that, and to know that there's part of something special that, you only get 10 opportunities a year to do that.
Yeah.
So, we got to stay focused in what our goal here, and that's to try to win a football game on Friday night. So, it's a challenge. Honestly, high school is a whole lot more challenging than it is at the college level
Yeah.
because you know, at the college level, you have a team of 100 or so guys, but they're all focused. They're there because they want to be there
Yeah.
and they want to play and they're going to compete because they know, hey, that opportunity might only show itself once, so I better be ready for it.
Mhm.
High school, we have almost 100 guys on our team right now, but not all of them are focused
Yeah.
on football. And
Right.
even the guys that play that are starters, um, we have a number of them that are, and there's still some that, hey, they're not playing beyond high school, and they know that.
Yeah.
They're going to go on to college or trade school or the military or
Yeah.
even the workforce. So, you know, how much does football mean to them?
Mhm.
They enjoy playing it, they'll work at it, but it's not their life per
Right.
se.
Yeah.
But when you play in our conference, as you brought it up against the Harrisburgs, now we have Bishop McDevitt in our conference, State College, Central Dauphin, the perennial, some of the best teams in the state at the 6A level. A lot of their kids are very focused on football. So
Yeah.
it's a tough battle every season to get them to stay focused and
Right.
what we're trying to accomplish.
Well, you guys are sitting at 500 right now, or you're sitting a little below 500 right now, 2-4, correct?
Correct. Yep.
It's pretty respectable for the division that you're in. You guys finished 4-6 last season, which is still a great record for a tough division. And I've seen Chambersburg play before in the past, and the team always looks really, really good. I grew up in Washington County, so anytime if we ever played, I didn't play football, but if we ever played any of the Chambersburg sports, it happened every now and then. they would wipe the floor with us. So that was any
Yeah,
sport usually. So, but yeah, so I get it though. It can be hard to keep some of the kids focused. I totally understand that. Do you still play the pro style offense, or have you changed it over the years?
no, we today, as you see in the college level, is a lot of spread offense, but
Hmm.
we're very multiple. We're
Okay.
some teams, it's hey, they're four wide receivers all the time, and
Yeah.
that's all they're going to do. We mix it up with formations, with personnel. So it's very pro style oriented, college style oriented, um, but we're multiple. We're going to do what we think, where we can put our kids in a position to be successful, and
Yeah.
that's the bottom line. Every
Right.
year, we graduate some kids, you get new ones coming in. What they might be good at is not the same as last year. So um, you know, we're definitely a little different than we were last year, and we're definitely different than we were 2 years ago, and so
Hmm.
forth. And that has to do with the talent, the personnel you have. So
Yeah.
we're not going to put that circle in a square hole type of thing. We're going to,
Gotcha. Yeah.
we're going to see if we have a circle. We're going to try to find a way to put it in a circle so that they can be successful. And that's what you have to do at the high school level.
Yeah, I love it. So you have a lot of returning seniors and juniors coming into the team, or that have returned this year. I was looking over the roster, and most of your players, like you said, you have at least about 100, right?
Yeah, we are. In
Yeah.
our program, we have a varsity and a JV,
Hmm.
and we break up our varsity is juniors and seniors, um, and we have the sophomores dress with us, and a handful of them do contribute on a Friday night. But
Uh-huh.
to play in the mid pen and be a sophomore, it's
It's
hard
tough.
to do, and
Yeah.
people don't understand that it really
Hmm.
is. But then our JV team is made up of freshmen and those sophomores. So
Okay.
combined between those four grades, um, and that was just a model we went to a few years ago to try to keep our numbers high enough that we can compete at the JV level and the varsity level. So, and it's
Right.
worked out well over the last couple of years.
Yeah. So goals for the rest of the 2024 season. What are those for you? And do you have any set for yourself for the 2025 season yet?
Well, at this point, we knew looking at the schedule coming into the 2024 season, the Mid Penn Commonwealth made some changes to the divisions. There used to
Hmm.
be five, now there's four. They added a couple teams to the Commonwealth, which is the 6A, the biggest division.
Yeah.
And they brought in Bishop McDevitt and Cedar Cliff. Um, our season going in, we knew that it was going to be very tough. McDevitt is a perennial team that's always going to the state finals. Harrisburg, we know, has been there the last few years. Central Dolphin has been to the state championship. It was a while ago, but Cumberland Valley plays well. Our schedule this year was front loaded with some of those good teams. McDevitt,
Hmm.
Harrisburg State College, we've played already.
Yeah.
And we do sit here at 2-4, but last week we kind of started the second half of our season with Cedar Cliff and got a big win against them. So we really feel good with the remainder of our schedule. The teams that are on there, we have Carlisle this Friday night, then we have Altoona, then Cumberland Valley and Central Dolphin, and all of them are right around 500, 3-3 or 2-4. So
Hmm.
they're all games we feel if
Yeah.
we can show up and play well, we'll win. So our goal at this point for the remainder of the season is to close out the season with 5 wins. And if we can finish up 6-4, we feel pretty confident about the opportunity to get into the postseason.
Yeah.
Now,
I-
this year they take 10 teams in the 6A, as opposed to 8. So that was nice to see that bump up. So
yeah.
we feel because of our strength of schedule, the teams on there, that 6-4 would get us in. So that's kind of our goal. And,
Mm.
we've talked about that as a team, but we don't want to look over and look ahead. We got to worry about tonight and
Yeah.
Carlisle and take care of that one, or it's a moot point.
Yeah.
As going into 2025, you never know who you're going to have.
Yeah.
At the high school level, it's so unfortunate. We try to plan, but you know, just like going into this spring, we thought we were going to have J.J. Kelly, the basketball player at the standout basketball player for the Trojans, and he had
Hmm.
played with us before. He told us who he was playing, so you make plans for that. then he decides at the end of the summer he's going to focus on basketball. So
Yeah.
that's the struggles you have with high school is, you want to plan, but our goals will be is, hey, we'll get the guys into the weight room. We'll see the ones that are really dedicated to it. And then in the spring, you start getting outside, see the guys that are showing up, and then you start to develop that, okay, where are we going to go? Are we going to have to change things offensively? Are we going to have to change things defensively based on the personnel that are attending the off season? And then you work on it all summer and you go for it. So it's so hard that's one of the struggles I've had at the high school level.
Yeah.
Is you don't know, college level. Now, again, when I coached at the college level, we didn't have the transfer portal. I can't imagine today how the coaches, because even at Ship U, I have a son playing here, and they have guys leaving, after every season. So it's getting harder at that level to even plan for the next year.
Well, I hope Chambersburg has a great rest of your season. I definitely think you guys can finish out the season at 6-4. I'm confident in you, and I appreciate you sitting down with me today and talking about the Trojans a little bit. We will definitely meet up in the future for sure.
It's the Coach's Corner with Andy.
Hey guys, I have Dane Harvey here. He just recently committed to play college baseball at The Ohio State University. So, Dane, are you already doing the
I am. I'm doing the OH. They've already,
there you go.
I
was waiting for you to finish it.
Oh, I'll go with the H. I'll go with the OH.
Hi-yo. There you go.
Yeah, there it is.
Nice to have you on. Thanks for joining me today. So when did you recently committed, correct? When did that all happen? And take us through the process of that.
Yeah, so it was kind of they had reached out like right before I came out to school. I left for school right around August of 9th. I think it was August 9th. I'm pretty sure is when I left. And they kind of, they follow me on Twitter. Twitter is a big, it's big for recruiting with baseball. So, they'll follow you on Twitter, kind of watch your recruiting videos that you post on Twitter and all that good stuff. So they texted me and they were like, hey, we're definitely going to be interested going into the fall. We'd like to jump on a phone call. So I got here and I was on the phone with their recruiting coordinator, Mr. Eli McCummings, and he was, a great guy. We spoke on the phone for probably 20, 25 minutes. And then, he said, yeah, we're looking forward to coming out and watching you play. They said they were, real excited about the team they have coming in this year, and they thought, I'd be a great piece to it. And I think it was real cool because they're a brand new coaching staff. They came from just about everywhere. They kind of, built their dream coaching team is what they wanted to call it when I went there. They had coached together in past years at Campbell University, and then they kind of went their own separate ways for a few years and then kind of rebuilt back into they decided to go into Ohio State and kind of do their thing. So it was cool, kind of going through the process with them because they're new just like, I will be. And so after we talked on the phone, they can't come watch. So there's like certain rules with NCAA. They couldn't come and watch me play until there was like a certain deadline. I forget what the exact day is. But once they came out and all they did was come out and watch me play a game or two. And he texted me and said he wanted me to come up on an official visit. And it was like a week or two after they came and watched me play. So I went up on a visit and I just knew it was the spot as soon as I got there. It was great. People were great. Coaches are awesome. Feels like a great atmosphere. I feel like everybody's, trying to push each other to become better. I just think it's a great program I can see myself thriving in.
That's awesome. So they recruited you out of, you say Campbell University?
So their coaching staff. So Coach Justin Hare, he's the head coach at Ohio State now. He was at Campbell last year. I think he's been the head coach for about 7 or 8 years before this year. And they were all together at Campbell coaching. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago. The whole coaching staff at Ohio State now, they were at Campbell together, and then they kind of split off for a few years and went, they're in separate ways. And my coach here, Coach Brock Buckingham, he had crossed ties with the hitting guy at Ohio State. His name's Coach Holcomb. So they knew each other. That's kind of how that's how that's how I got introduced to Ohio State was through Coach Buck and him knowing Coach Holcomb. So he kind of put my name in his mouth and went from there. And then
Coach Buck got you into the Buckeyes, huh?
They did, yeah. Coach Buck. Yeah, I like to let them know what that feels like. It's in the name, I just knew it was going to happen.
Exactly. So where did you play your high school baseball at?
I played at Southern Fulton High School.
Okay.
So just
Did
a little town of Pennsylvania.
So when recruiting happens like that and you get recruited, so you got recruited out of high school, correct?
I got recruited out of junior college. So I'm in a junior college right now.
Okay. Okay.
So so out of high school, I didn't really have. I had 2 offers coming out of high school. I had a junior college in Florida called Polk State College, and then I had this junior college out here in Arkansas City, Kansas, called Cali College. And I came out on some visits and checked it out, and I loved it out here. Out here it's just baseball. You come out here and you work hard, and you just get better. You become a better dude. You become a better ball player. All of it.
So how does that recruiting process work? Is it the same when you get recruited out of junior college as it is coming out of high school? Does the process differ? How do your coaches notify them that we might have a possible player here for your team? How does that work?
Yeah, so the thing with junior college is it's a 2-year school, so you come out and it's really just to make sure, because the big thing with going to a big Division I school out of high school is that you're going to go and you're going to be playing. You're going to be playing under guys who are 22, 23 years old, and you don't know how many you don't know how many reps you're going to get. You don't know what the availability is, especially they just made a new roster. They made a new change with the rosters where they can only have 32 guys on the team. So, if you're not performing, or you don't get the chance to perform, you're not going to play. So, I kind of made the decision. I was like, I'm going to go junior college. I went out playing with a bunch of guys the same age as me. We came out and, you're going to get reps. I got 200 at bats my freshman year. So I graduated in 2023 and came out. My first year at Cali was last year. Had a good freshman year. There were a few schools. So typically what they do is you'll go to junior college for 2 years and then you'll go on and play a 4-year for the following 2. You can get recruited after your first year, but it's unlikely because you're still a sophomore. They want to see that because you've kind of got yourself embedded in this program. You want to go out for a second year, do your thing, and then kind of move on. But I think the process is pretty similar. It's kind of just they know what they're getting, because I've already played 2 years of college baseball, so they know what they're getting. If they need a guy, Ohio State has a grad senior, so he's this will be his last year, and they kind of want a guy to come in and they kind of know what they're getting, and they want production instead of having to build a guy coming out of high school and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like a smart move, and it sounds like it's a benefit for you and Ohio State because they're getting somebody that's experienced, knows at least the college level of play, and that it's a win. It sounds like a win-win for me or for you, to me.
right, exactly, and that's the thing with especially with that new roster change, like I was talking about. You can't take chances on guys if you don't know, if you don't know what they're capable of. You don't want to take a chance on a young guy when people have been putting up the numbers in junior college, especially out here in the Midwest. The junior college baseball out here is unreal.
Really,
a lot of the guys just decide. They just know, like they want to go play junior college for a year or 2 and then transfer out. That's just what they do out here.
Yeah, I've never been out that far west, so I've never had the experience, but it definitely sounds like baseball country. That's for sure.
It really is.
Southern Fulton's pretty well known for their baseball as well. Did you grow up playing baseball as well, like through minor league, little league, all that?
I did. Yes, sir.
Did you play any like travel ball or anything like that too?
I did. So I think I grew up playing. I played at Hancock Little League. I think I started playing 4 or 5. And then as I got older, when I was about 9, I started playing travel baseball for KMS. I was with KMS Baseball Academy with Mark Shives in Clear Spring. Mark's been a big part of what, the ball player I am. He was big in the development of my swing, helping me figure out who I am as a ball player, all that good stuff. So I played with him until I graduated high school and then came out here.
The Buckeyes are a pretty prestigious school. They're well known for a lot of their sports, baseball being one of them. It looks like they were. Did you know they were actually the first sports team that was formed at Ohio State?
I did not.
Yeah, I found that out today. But they got a national championship under their belt, a couple Big Ten regular season titles and Big Ten tournament titles. Hopefully, you can help add to that.
Right. That's the plan.
So, Ohio State also produced some pros, most notably that I recognize, Frank Howard and Nick Swisher. Mm-hmm. Do you have pro aspirations? What are your goals after college?
That's the obvious goal. With the whole recruiting process going through all, talking to all the coaches and everything, I felt like their coaches had like the obvious, they just had the best possible goals for me. Like they knew they're like, you have a chance to be real good. They said, if we come, you come in, especially taking the hitting, the hitting stuff you get from Coach Buck in Kansas. Coach Buck has made me, he's, added so much to my swing, added to my, my mindset at the plate, all that good stuff. They said, if we get you in here and we get you, tweaking a few things, but, better pitching and stuff, they said, you have the chance to be real good and play baseball a long time. So, yeah, that's the obvious goal, is to play professional baseball at some point.
Awesome. That'd be wonderful. Then we can have you back on as a pro player.
Right, exactly.
So I know you just recently committed to Ohio State, but just by visiting the campus and seeing all the facilities, what differences are there in college ball based off high school baseball or even junior college baseball?
Yeah, so the big difference between college baseball and high school, that I can think of right now, is probably the biggest one is the mental aspect of everything, with, just talking to the college guys who were there. Once I was there and I told them that I was going to, be coming here, I started talking to them, kind of here and there, their insight and their mindset of what they have going on. It's very similar to what I've kind of endured out here. I just think the mental aspect of it is just really the biggest change from college, or from high school to college. I'm just trying to think of, there's just a lot more adjustments that you have to make, on the fly. In high school you can go up empty headed and you can produce, because there's a lot of repetition in high school. Dane? Mm-hmm. Can you hear me?
Are you there?
Yep.
I got you. Sorry, I lost you for a minute. Sorry, you were saying about the adjustments. Go ahead.
Yeah, so, the mental adjustments. I don't know what you heard about the high school. So you can go up there empty headed and you can, you're able to, produce based, because there's a lot of repetition in high school. People are going to do the same thing over and over. In college, it's not. That's not the case. People are they're gonna repeat their hand with different pitches. You have to be able to react on the spot. You have to be able to make adjustments to your swing. If you feel something's off, you need to be able to just kind of being able to adjust on the fly. I think has been the biggest part of the adjustment between high school, college, and now especially going into the Big Ten and playing. I think one of the biggest things I need to work on is being able to make minor adjustments. I think I do it okay. I think I can do it greater, is make adjustments on the fly and being able to react to pitches when I need to be able to react to them, based on, because the guys are going to be throwing, 95, 100 miles an hour. I've got to be able to react on the spot.
Right, exactly. So once you finish your college career, and you said you do have aspirations to go play professional baseball, do you know the steps that you have to take in order to get into the Major League Baseball draft? Is it up to you personally? Is it your job, or do your college coaches help out with that? How does that process know, or what do you know of that process?
Yeah, so actually last year we actually had a guy here, excuse me. Mm-hmm. We had a pitcher here. His name was Isaiah Salinas. He actually ended up getting drafted out of junior college. So with junior college, you don't have to wait until your junior year, after your junior year, to get drafted. In the NCAA, you have to play 3 years of college baseball to get drafted. But here you can go whenever. So he actually, I think he hired an agent. So once he has an agent hired, that's when he starts to, professional coaches will start calling, asking if he has, intentions to leave this year, if he has intentions to leave next year, if he has intentions to go to a 4-year and get a degree, all that good stuff. And that's the biggest thing with professional, coaches, scouts calling. They want to know if you are gonna, if you want a 4-year degree. They're like, if you want to graduate, just let us know, because they want younger guys, necessarily because they want you to go into their program and they want to build you, from the ground up, especially. So the younger you are, it's not even I think your ceiling is just higher if you're younger. So they try to get you as young as possible. So, if you tell them you want a 4-year degree, that you might not get a phone call back, but if you want to go play professional baseball, you can, they'll start calling. So I think that's how the steps work. I haven't gotten a phone call, from anybody yet, but I know that, talking with him from last year, he just says that they reach out and they want to know what your kind of thought process is and go from there. But he ended up getting drafted by the Baltimore Orioles. So he said,
"Oh, cool."
They kind of reached out and they were like, "Hey, what are your thoughts?" He's like, "I want to play pro baseball." He was like, "All right, well, we're gonna give you a shot." So I think that's pretty cool, kind of hearing.
That sounds way too easy.
way too easy.
Well, you got to work up to that point, but yeah,
right, exactly. That's what you work for right there, is the easy phone call.
I feel like it should have a lot more steps than that to it.
Right. Yeah. So
that's cool though.
I think the one thing, saying like getting yourself put in the MLB draft, I think that you get voted on by like area scouts. So once you get your name voted into the poll, people will start to go and look up your name and look at your feed and look at, your production, and then that's when you start to get votes to be put into the draft.
That makes sense. That sounds that's pretty cool though.
Yeah. It is cool.
So was he an Orioles fan? Did he get drafted by?
I'm sure he is now. I'm pretty sure
Was
he's a Royals fan.
Oh, okay.
Sure he was a Royals fan because he's from out here in Kansas. So.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, now we're making him bleed orange and black.
I'll just say, are you an O's fan?
I am, yes, sir.
All right, awesome. That's what I like to hear. But I do have one thing to ask you. When I reached out to you to contact you, I'm not going to put it out over here, over the video, or over the airwaves. I had your email from a contact here at work. I did notice there was a certain football team.
There is.
In your email.
My email that might.
We'll just say I'm a Washington Commanders fan, and I didn't appreciate it. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. So you do like Dallas.
I do. Yes, sir. I don't know. I don't know what made me. I kind of grew up. My dad grew up listening to him on the radio, and he said it kind of just stuck with him. So
yeah,
fed it into me.
Man, they're not looking good right now.
They're not having a great season, but
usually we're on opposite ends of the spectrum. The Washington Commanders aren't having the great season, and the Cowboys are thriving.
They are.
But
they're having a great season.
Yeah, I think I'm saying this as a neutral NFL fan. I think they can put it together. It's just going to take time.
No doubt.
And I think it's all with the running game. I don't think their running game is where it needs to be. Dowdle looks all right, but he's so small and tiny, and he's not that. Nothing against him, but he's not that feature back.
I don't think he is either, and I think that Zeke is. He's kind of on the downslope of his career for sure.
Yeah, and it's sad because you have great players like CeeDee Lamb and Dak's a great player, and it's just like, what's going on with these guys? I guess
exactly.
they're humans too. They're human too. So
exactly.
That's pretty cool. So you're an Orioles fan, a Cowboys fan. Do you like hockey at all? Do you follow hockey?
I don't. I've never been a big hockey guy, but apparently now, I have to be a hockey guy. Our hockey teams are really good in Columbus. So,
before you were at Ohio State, were you always an Ohio State fan, or what other colleges did you like to watch?
So that's the thing. So I've always been a Penn State guy, growing up. So
all right. That makes sense.
A lot of my family members and my friends they're like, we'll wear scarlet, but it's only for baseball. That's the only season you get it. We'll wear navy blue for everything else.
Oh, wait. So you're a Penn State fan. So how do you feel about Saquon being on the enemy's team?
Don't get me started on it. Don't get me started on it.
I couldn't believe that when that happened this past all season.
Crazy.
Well, that's cool. So I was going to ask you, what other sports you're into, but obviously you're a big football guy too. Did you grow up playing football too?
I didn't. No, sir. No? So, Southern Fulton, we didn't have football. So I just
really?
enjoy watching it, and that's about it. I played basketball growing up. I played it basically my whole life too. It was fun. I kind of just did it to stay in shape for baseball, and have a good time.
Yeah. So if you do go to the Major League Baseball draft, do you have a preference of what team you'd like to play for?
Well, it obviously would be awesome to play for the Orioles for sure.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Hey, if that happens, you have to get me into the dugout.
Okay, I can make that happen.
Deal. I'll hold you to this, and I'll play this video back as proof.
Okay.
Well, Dane, thanks for hanging out with me today. Good luck at Ohio State. I know you'll thrive and you'll do awesome. We'll have to have you back on once the season gets underway, and you can give us some updates of how things are going.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me on.
I think the biggest question on any fan of the Commanders' mind was, will Jaden Daniels be able to play this coming weekend against the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams? It's a big game coming up. The first and second overall draft picks for the 2024 draft in the NFL would be battling each other. But will we see Jaden Daniels suit up and play? That's going to be up to Dan Quinn and his staff as practices get underway this weekend leading up to Sunday. They're going to evaluate him at practice. His rib injury was minimal. It didn't seem to be bothering him on the sideline when he went out. Jaden Daniels is the star in Washington, and they're treating him like it. I hope they continue to treat him like it. This brings me back to a memory of a certain quarterback for the Washington Commanders that was taken high in the draft and had great expectations. We'll see how Dan Quinn and the Washington staff handle this decision.
If you'd like to be featured on the Coach's Corner with Andy, email coach at 921thegoat.com.